We've all been told that if you want to be heard, you have to speak up, right? But what if, and stick with me here, what if that's completely wrong? What if the most powerful tool you have in any conversation is actually silence? I mean, think about it. In meetings, negotiations, even just chatting with friends, the pressure is on to make your voice heard. But the idea we're going to break down today suggests a strategy that's not just different, it is way, way more powerful. Yep, you heard that right. Not a smarter comeback, not more facts and figures, but the strategic use of silence. It's a fascinating, kind of mind-bending idea, and we are going to get right into how it actually works. Now, let's be clear. This is not about just being shy or quiet. This is about turning silence from something passive into an active, strategic weapon. It's about flipping a switch from broadcasting your own ideas to becoming a master collector of everyone else's. This right here, this is the core concept. And pay close attention to that word, currency. It's not just a cool metaphor, it is the absolute key to unlocking this entire strategy. So what on earth is this currency? Let's nail down a really clear definition, because I'm telling you, once you start seeing communication through this lens, it changes absolutely everything. So think of it this way. Every time someone else is talking, they are literally spending their currency. They're giving away bits of information, revealing their true position, their hidden motives, maybe even their weaknesses. And every single moment you stay silent and just listen, well, you're collecting all of that currency, and your strategic wealth is just growing and growing. This whole thing creates this incredible dynamic in any conversation. You're either the one spending or you're the one collecting. There's really no in-between. Let's break down what that actually looks like. Look at this. It's such a fundamental difference. The speaker is constantly talking, which means they're constantly spending their informational currency. They're laying their whole game plan out on the table. And let's be honest, it's exhausting. But the collector? Oh, they're gaining currency with every word they take in. They're figuring out the why behind what's being said, all while saving their mental energy for when it really counts. And this, right here, perfectly captures the shift in mindset. You're not just sitting there doing nothing. You're making a strategic investment. You're letting everyone else spend their currency while yours just compounds in value, waiting for that perfect moment to be deployed. Okay, so the theory is fantastic. It sounds great. But how do we actually use this in the real world? Let's dive into some specific situations where deploying silence is your absolute best move. Okay, these are 3 really high-stakes moments we all face. First, picture this. You're in a huge meeting, and someone hits you with a really tough, complex question. Instead of jumping to answer, you just pause. You hold that silence for a few seconds. In that space, you get to think. And you know what usually happens? The other person gets nervous and starts talking again, often giving you even more information about what they really want to know. Second, negotiations. You make your offer. They make theirs. Instead of instantly firing back, you say nothing. That silence is heavy. It creates pressure, and you'd be surprised how often they'll be the first to break it, usually by making their own offer a little bit better. And finally, an argument. When things get hot, our gut tells us to argue back. Instead, you go silent. It completely breaks the rhythm. It forces the other person to hear their own angry words just hanging in the air, and that alone can be incredibly de-escalating. So here's the psychological secret sauce. People are deeply uncomfortable with a vacuum, and that goes for conversations too. When you create that void by staying silent, the other person feels this almost primal need to fill it. And what do they fill it with? More details, more justifications, more explanations. In other words, more currency for you. Okay, so let's tie this all together. The big thing to remember is that silence isn't empty. It's an active opportunity to seize control. When you start seeing information as a form of currency, then listening becomes the way you get rich. And using that silence strategically, well, that's what gives you the ultimate advantage. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. The next time you walk into a meeting, a negotiation, or even just a tough conversation, pay close attention to who's doing the talking and who's doing the listening. Are you the one spending, or are you the one collecting? Because now you know the truth. The quietest person in the room might just be the most powerful one.